Hello and welcome to What Have I Just Read today on Wednesday the 7th of February with Mike and Nadia and the jingle. Great to be back, having not been able to do this for a long while because our morning timetables have not permitted us to both be in the chapel at the same time, so it's rather perfect and lovely to be here. And Nadia just commented that you can just see here there is in fact light indicating that spring is on the way because we can already see dawn this time in the morning, which is great.
Because the last time we did it two weeks ago, it was still dark.
Definitely dark.
Yeah,
That's a lovely observation. It's great. And so yeah, amazing readings today. What we read? Genesis 31, and it carries the story we started yesterday of Jacob running away from his father-in-law, right, Laban, having run off with the daughters, and then he's been caught up. Sort of, Laban has caught up with him. It's amazing passage. This.
Yeah. So there are lots of things that catch your eye, but yeah, I'm really sorry we can't have Malcolm comment.
Yeah. It is.
Like, what does this mean?
But it is interesting because it is fascinating. I mean, it's such an incredible passage because they're both. It's kind of intriguing how there's this sort of tension between the two, and they both kind of have their own versions of the story and the truth. And this amazing part when Laban is looking for the house gods and he can't find them because Rachel's sitting on them.
Yes.
I mean, just incredible story that. And she says, I can't stand up because I've got sort of things happening. And so she sits and he never finds them. And it's amazing how they both, Jacob has in fact benefited from Laban but because he's basically lived there, 20 years, married to his daughters, and has worked his flock. But Jacob is also angry at the way that Laban was always changing the conditions of his payment and stuff like that. So
like neither of them is perfect.
Yeah, exactly, and it's so complicated, and it's quite interesting how there was a comment I read that said that when they come to actually they decide to have an agreement where they just sort of put pillars in the sand. But it's quite interesting, they can't even agree on the name of the agreement. There's two different names.
Yeah, they call it different names.
Different things.
Place,
different
names.
Which is interesting. So one of them calls this agreement one thing and the other one calls it something else. And it's amazing. They sort of put these kind of pillars in the sand. They agree not to fight or to get violent. They just sort of make a pact. Which is actually just such a fascinating story.
And speaking about this covenant, what I also noticed is that when they make it, they start eating, and their men. So I thought it's something interesting that this section of eating together, sharing a meal, is something universal. That in spite of calling it different names, this is what they do, and this makes the covenant active.
Right, exactly. Eating and breaking bread is always a great way of celebrating. And there's a pillar. We had another pillar recently, didn't we? We had when what's his name left Sodom, Gomorrah. When he walked away from Gomorrah, Lot. That's right. He left and he looked back, and his wife turned into a pillar of salt, which apparently you can still see something that resembles this. That's actually very interesting, so another pillar today, which is great. But anyway, so it was an amazing passage, and I loved the fact that it's poking around Laban is poking around all Jacob's possessions, looking for these gods. It is intriguing. As you say, both men are not really in the right.
And then this passage ends with angels of God appearing.
Right.
So Jacob seeing the angels of God again. So and then there's another place, God's camp. So then he calls it.
Right.
Mahanaim.
Yeah, that is amazing. This is God's camp.
It's not the first time the angels appear.
Amazing. And then And then the second reading,
Yeah.
Titus.
Yes, it's the new letter. So yesterday you were reading from Timothy, the second
Right.
letter to Timothy.
Ah,
And
okay.
that's the following, that this letter comes after those two. So
Right.
it's the letter to Titus.
And it's very interesting
Yeah.
how I love the way he describes the way a bishop
Yeah.
should be. That was really
Lots
interesting.
of practical advice.
Yeah, exactly. That he should be.
Yeah.
I love. He should be not addicted to wine. He obviously shouldn't be violent or greedy. It was amazing, blameless, prudent, and devout. It's actually a fascinating list.
And also interesting how he describes false teachers.
Yeah.
So who are only looking for gain and teaching.
That's true. Exactly. He's got to be able to teach with sound doctrine and refute those who contradict it. Yeah, it is actually. It is actually amazing. Yeah, you're right. That's right. There are many rebellious, idle talkers and deceivers, teaching for sordid gain.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Quite relevant also. Yeah, as relevant today as it was.
Yeah, exactly. Always people kind of
Yeah.
preaching the wrong message. But anyway.
And also, like the phrase towards the end of this chapter, to the pure all things are pure, but to the corrupt and unbelieving nothing is pure, which I think is also...
That's very true, actually.
True, yes.
Yeah.
The way different people with different personalities see what's happening to them and see the world around them.
And that is true. That's a great line, actually. To the pure, all things are pure, but to the corrupt and unbelieving, nothing is pure. It is true. And often it's to do with the way that you look and see things, isn't it? That some people just see everything as bad and negative and terrible. Yeah, it's a really interesting. Yeah, so much depends on our outlook.
It also resonates a little bit with what you said about the first reading. So they call the same thing different names.
Yeah.
And here also you can look at the same event or the same thing.
Right,
happening,
exactly.
but you can describe it in very different ways.
From two different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Good.
And I just thought one more thing, which is not to do with those reading, but the canticle that we have after the first reading. So
Right.
It just I just thought about it. So it's the canticle we read often. So we've all read it many times. But
Right.
it just showed me today the power of the Word of God, because every day. So no matter how many times you read them,
Right.
sometimes some personal things happen in your life. So today, while I was reading it, I caught a line which I'd never thought of before.
Gosh.
So just because it resonated with something going on in my personal
right.
life, so that's amazing how we can read different passages.
And then it comes alive.
Yeah,
It's so true.
It's amazing.
So true. Yeah, exactly. You can read something over and over again, and you don't see it, and then suddenly something happens, and it sort of jumps out at you.
Yeah, and it gives you help and advice or reassures you, or
exactly.
It's amazing.
It's great. Okay. Anyway, lovely to have done. Is that enough? I think that's enough. We've been going for 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Enough wibble. And we actually have one person watching us, which is quite phenomenal. And even one like. Thank you. So we all look forward to the next chance when we can do this, when Nadia can be in the chapel, or anyone else who can come in and have a wonderful. Kirill, great to see you. Loyal as ever. Thank you, and a comment. So have a great Wednesday, and see you back for morning prayer tomorrow morning. Yeah. Bye.